Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Beatrice Tushimire.
And I'm Laura Disingize.
Janvier Dushimire.
Okay, good. As a team, we worked on different cultural food and we conducted field researches about different cultural related events and foods. So in that case, I worked on Hawaiian poi, Pennsylvanian Dutch cuisine, and I conducted a field research about pounding cassava leaves, which is pounded in Rwanda, and it turns into isombe, which is in the native language of Rwanda, Kinyarwanda. So to begin with, the Hawaiian poi, this is a food that is believed to be the founding of the ancestor, since it's believed to have sustained the ancestors in arriving to the island of Hawaii. Yeah. So this food is prepared from pounding taro roots, and it is pounded to make this chewy food that is called poi. In their culture, it is prohibited to argue when the poi is served at the table, since it represents the ancestors of Hawaiian people. So to continue with the Pennsylvanian Dutch cuisine, they have different dishes that they consider very important and crucial in their culture. I talked about two dishes. The first one is the shofi pie, and this is a food that is made and it's served in the winter. These are baked cakes with pie crust. So this is a food that is associated with singing, since it was used to celebrate the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia. So yeah, it is served in the cold weather, hence in the winter. Another dish is called the chicken pot pie. This is prepared with the cashews and the roast chicken. So this is usually a food that is served at the lunch in summer, and this is when it is delicious in their culture. So about my field research, I went to the field uh, or in the household where they were pounding sombe, and these are the cassava leaves which they pound in a mortar using a pestle, and it is believed to be useful and healthy for a woman who have just given birth. So they pound it, and it's pounded by someone who is very energetic in the family, and they serve it to every meal of a woman who have just given birth, so that she restores and regain her energy quickly, so as to breastfeed her baby with energy, so that the baby grow with with health. That was all about my cultural related foods. Is anyone with a question or clarification?
Yes, you mentioned that in the while preparing or serving the Hawaiian poi, some people are not allowed to quarrel or make an argument. So I was wondering if there are some specific punishments that were put aside for that person who maybe perhaps quarrels or makes an argument while that poi is being served.
Okay, thank you very much. There are no specific punishment, but then if this poi represents the ancestor of the Hawaiian culture, it's the sign of respect. You cannot disrespect your ancestors, but there are no punishment. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you for the information about the research that you conducted. But I was wondering about the isombe that you told us about. So, are there some spices that you add in the isombe so that it can become somehow delicious? Like what are they? There?
Thank you very much. Actually, when I went to the field, they were pounding sombe. They added in some onion and tomatoes. These are simple, like spices that they use that are natural. They don't want to add something that are from the industries, since they think that they might have some health effect to women who have just given birth. They use these onions and tomatoes so as to make the isombe delicious. And so
Okay.
thank you, welcome Janvier for her information.
Okay. I also researched about tailgate parties and the tailgate potlatches. To begin with tailgates, these are parties that are held before specifically football matches, and they are held by Americans. Oh, to talk about them, these are parties that bring a union to people, whereby they're supposed to bring enough food before the football match starts, so that even those people who have come to encourage the teammate, those people who are going to play, do not have food, they can also access some food to eat. And it is not just a party; it is also something that is there to help those people who are going to play gain energy and see that they have support so that they can win, they can gain victory after the match. There are very many foods that are used at tailgate parties, which include chili. Mainly, the reason as to why this chili is made is because it can be prepared ahead of time. Maybe if the match is going to happen perhaps on Wednesday, a person can make the chili on Monday, so that it is well prepared before time, and it can keep being refreshed as time goes on. It cannot go bad, so that is why it is a good one. There are also potato salads, chicken wings, meat skewers. All those are kinds of foods that can be used at tailgate parties. It is just a party that welcomes everyone who has come to support the team which is going to play. Uh, Basically, that was mainly about what tailgate parties are about, and also the foods that are served there. I'll continue with the tailgate potlatches. These are also kind of events or parties that are held among the tailgate people, whereby they are carried out by maybe mostly rich people that want to show off their wealth. They invite many people, and they come, they share food and also stories, and talk about their past events and share out with all the poor and the rich. But the person who has invited, the main purpose of the person who has invited the guests is to show that he really has what to satisfy himself and also what to share with others. So specifically, these people mostly attached to the salmon fish, which is a fish that is attached to their ancestors. They believe that the salmon people were very powerful, and they when they finished eating that kind of fish, they put back the bones in the water, so that they believe those bones will turn back to life, and then they become fishes for them to eat. So that is what they do in this kind of party. Then in my field log, I talked about the traditional beer that is called urwagwa in our traditional language, Kinyarwanda, which is used at the giving dowry events in Rwanda. When people are going to take their bride away, they have to give a dowry. So this kind of beer is among the things that should be given to the family of the girl as part of the dowry. So this one is prepared using bananas and also sorghum. It is a beer that represents respect to the family of the girl, since it really requires so much carefulness when you're making it. So when it comes out, when it is really good and it can taste good, that's when the family of the girl can accept that you really gave them respect and you deserve their daughter. So people have different ways of making it. so much sweet. Maybe some can add honey into that beer so that it comes out differently from what other people have been producing, so that they really satisfy the family of the girl, and in that way they will end up getting the girl as they had wanted. There are many other items that are taken as dowry, but this one is mostly important because they believe that also when people are holding a party, they have to drink and feel like when their girl is being taken away, they enjoy it. When in our tradition, when a girl goes without the dowry being given, people do not feel satisfied because they keep saying they did not drink the beer on her party. They did not have a share on her behaving well, so that she could get a man. Yeah, basically that is all I researched about in my field blog, and also the culture of foods. And I would welcome any questions if you have them.
Okay, thank you very much. I have this one question. You talked about where the when the beer tastes good, that's when they give out their girl. So when it tastes bad, they do not give out the girl.
No, basically, it is not that they do not give out the girl because this beer is a sign. But if a person has really given respect to the family of the girl, they make sure that that beer comes out tasting good. It is not a condition because I've already mentioned that there are some other elements or that come with along with that beer, but it has to come out for you. Even when they are already married, the family of the girl keeps respecting them for the fact that they really made a very good beer at their event. You don't have any question? Okay. So Laura can continue with the presentation.
So, as being part of the group, I also had to research about two cultural foods and one also field research. The cultural foods that I worked on, first of all, I worked on Japanese rice. So Japanese rice is referred to sticky, round, and short glutinous rice, and it's mainly escorted with some traditional food called sushi. So the Japanese rice is the fundamental food in Japan, as it's consumed more than once in a day, and this is because it has some specific origin in Japan, so it's considered as the cultural food. So it's served along with sushi food, as I told you. That is there's some those are some foods that are like vegetables, so it's served well with them so that it can be very tasty. So for you to prepare the Japanese rice, you need some ingredients, like you need some Japanese short grained rice and water, and then some equipment that you may need to prepare it. You need heavy pot with a tight fitting lid, stainer dry measuring cup, and some liquid measuring cup so that you can know like the amount of water that you're using it. I mean that you're using in that rice to be very dry enough. So about another field research that I mean another food related culture. I also worked on food rituals in Hindu wedding. So in the Hindu wedding, there are many foods that are consumed, but most of them are the foods that are too much culture. They also serve the rice, but that rice is mostly is not only used for eating, but it's also used for the bride and the groom. So they try to throw it to themselves, like on their heads. So if someone throws much rice on the other one, it shows that that one who has thrown much rice on the other one will be dominating in their relationship. So it's also used by other people who are invited to the wedding. They also throw that rice to them as a sign of happiness for them and as kind of blessing them. So another thing that is used there is also a coconut that is used in Hindu traditional food. So the father of the bride holds the coconut in the hand, and then he hands it to the daughter, as well as when after holding it with the bride, they take it to the husband, to the groom. So this shows as the sign of blessing the marriage of those the groom and the bride. So it's a coconut is also a symbol of prosperity in Hinduism. So there is also a paste of cumin seeds. So this paste is mixed with brown sugar and crushed together after getting the crushed after crushing them together. They're placed in a betel leaf. So that leaf they're placed on that leaf so that they're going to put on that leaf. Maybe if they reach on the I mean if they reach in the church, they use it. They hold it in the hands. So they're going to say that it shows that life is bitter sometimes and sometimes it's sweet. So there are some ingredients that are used to prepare that paste cumin seeds like sorghum flour, water, large wooden spoon, and metal pot. So for also the food research that I conducted, I had to go for an event called Umuganura. Sometimes it's also it can be referred to first fruits event. So this first fruits event is considered as it was an event. It used to be held like long ago in with the ancestors. Like they hold a party and then they bring like the first fruits of the vegetation. Maybe if they cultivated beans and some other things. So they bring the fruits together so that they test them before harvesting. So what is consumed mainly in this event? It's a paste called Rukchakarara. So this paste is strongly made, and it's made out of not enough water, but too much of flour. So the reason why it's made like this, it has to be too dry so that it represents the unity of the people who are going to share that. So while going for this field research, there are some questions that I asked, like the people who were around. Like for example, I was asking why they were reducing the amount of water, and then some person answered me, and he was like, the amount of water has to be less than the amount of the flour so that it can be strongly made. So another thing that was also in that event, there are some other other cultural foods that are served there, like banana beer, which is called umotore, and it's consumed by everyone who is there, as it's not alcoholic. So even there are some banana leaves that are used to serve that food because it was used by the ancestors, so they use that as a sign of culture and a sign of behavior. Of respecting the elders of how they used to do it, and it's also like the people sit according to their generations, like the fathers and the mothers of the old ages and children, and they also sit on a mat. They don't sit on chairs because it's strongly it strongly demonstrates the culture. So that is all what I had to do with the research and with the food cultures that I was working on. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. If do you have questions for Laura?
No? Okay. Thank you.
Do you have questions?
Um,
No. Then, if there are no questions, we are going to proceed with our discussion about the differences and commonalities within our these cultural related foods. So you will remember that we talked about each of us talked about different cultural foods. So we would like to hear about the commonalities. Anyone to share? What do you think are the commonalities between these cultural foods?
So, according to me, I think the commonalities of these culture foods that we worked on, as I heard from Janvier and you, I heard that all the food cultures that you worked on are strongly connected to the culture of the ancestors, which is like a strong connection of the food. Like the foods themselves are considered as the cultures. Yeah, that's one of the similarities.
Another one also that I found out was that every cultural food has a specific way it is prepared in, and it has they all have a specific meaning attached to the foods. If it is not just like preparing food, but every food among these has something very special to the people who consume it, which is a similarity of between all of them.
That is good. Yeah, you had that. Oh, they are all related to the culture and the ancestors of each culture, which is one of the commonalities, and they also have a special meaning to the culture. So after the commonalities, they have different. They have how they are different. So what are the difference between these cultural food? So my first difference, my view about the difference is that they are from different countries. I talked about Hawaii, she talked about Tingling, Tinglet, and she also talked about Hindu. So these are different countries. Our cultural related food are from different countries with different cultures, even though they all have some commonalities. Oh, so anyone with another difference about this cultural food?
So another difference is that each food has its own way of preparation, and they use different ingredients, and the way they prepare them is so different. So that's another difference about that.
Yeah, yeah, they have differences and commonalities. So there are some terms which anthropologists use while studying cultures and foods, which are cultural relativities. There is also enculturation. There is ethnocentrism. So with enculturation, this is the process of learning other people's culture. As I learned about Hawaiian poi while I'm not from Hawaii, this is enculturation. I'm learning about people's culture. Again, I learned about Rwandan culture of pounding isombe. Or this is a culture that I went to the field, I observed people's emotion. This was enculturation. So ethnocentrism is about practice of evaluating other people's culture, criticizing it based on the standards of your culture. So when I was talking about Hawaiian, when I conducted the research about Hawaiian food, I thought this food was not delicious, but then they thought it was delicious. I compared it to isombe, which is from my culture. So this was ethnocentrism. I judged the way poi is delicious compared to the food that is in my culture. Anyone talk about some anthropologist terms that are and how they connect to the cultural related food we discussed?
Culture relativity also refers to the practice of evaluating a certain culture using its own standards. Like for example, if we have the same, maybe if we consider like the nowadays culture and you compare it with the culture of our ancestors, that is what we call culture relativity. So it's all about comparing the same things from the same culture, but maybe from different generations. So another thing that was also talked about in the anthropology terms, there is also a symbol. So a symbol is a sign or a mark that signifies something important in the culture. So for example, for us, if we have If we take an example of a drawing that has a cow, so that it is considered as a sign, as a cow is considered as wealth in our country, so that's also a sign. So another thing is subculture. So it refers to a small culture that exists within a big culture. For example, if you have if you have Rwanda as our culture, so if we take maybe the culture of people from the north or people from the south, that we can call it a subculture. Or if we take an example of the students who are in campus, maybe we can consider that the way they behave is also a subculture to the Rwandan culture.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing, would you like to talk about rituals? How they connect to food-related culture?
Oh yes. Talking about rituals, every food that we talked about here has specific rituals that are attached to it. Um, Foods cannot be prepared, especially foods that are most cultural. They cannot be prepared without something that is of that they respect mostly about it. Like maybe Betty mentioned, while preparing the poi, people are not allowed to make arguments or to shout out when they are being served. That is a ritual. That is something that they put there that is supposed to be respected according to why the food is being served. And also within the Tlingit people, like I mentioned, there is a ritual whereby the rich, like if they are sharing at that event, the rich people are supposed to be treated like the rich, like they should be given too much food, they should be treated with very much respect, so that they feel that what they really worked for, they worked hard to get the wealth, and so they must be treated according to how they really worked hard. This may even act like an encouragement to these people who have not reached to that level yet, so that they can keep also working hard to get to that level. So basically, what I would explain is that there are very many rituals attached to every kind of food, because something cultural has a ritual that is being respected in that specific culture.
Thank you very much. That was all about cultural related foods, and thank you.
Okay.
Okay, let's finish.